Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Casey Jones versus Foot Soldier Slashed 2-pack, which is a new Casey Jones figure and a Foot Soldier with a new torso and a bunch of accessories. And he fell over. Stand up, please. It's a pretty cool 2-pack. I know there's a lot of, let's say, shall we say, difficulty attaining this, but then it ended up becoming much easier, and that's a good thing for most people. And I think the majority of people will have been able to get one if they wanted to. That's the idea, hopefully, I think. Hopefully that works out for you guys. But it's a pretty cool 2-pack. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Casey stands roughly 6.5 inches to the top of his hair, which makes him pretty close to, let's just say, 16.5 centimeters. And the foot, he stands roughly, let's say, 18 centimeters, and that's going to be just about 7 1/8 inches tall. And before we get into the review, let's go ahead and do the question of the day. Question of the day is, which of the Ninja Turtles do you think is the best? And then also go on to clarify why you think it is Leonardo. All right? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this 2-pack. Aesthetically speaking, we can get this guy out of the way really quickly. It is the same Foot Soldier we have seen multiple times, except for this part. And NECA did a really good job with that. I thought they were going to have a clear piece in there to hold him together a little bit better. They don't. They only have the one red piece, which, as you can see, is doing just a fine job. No problem at all. They did a good job painting and sculpting in there. Obviously, it was 2 separate pieces when it was made, and that's just awesome. They did a really, really nice job there. That is cool. I will say, though, and there's no way for me to test this now, over time, I'm guessing on a display, if he is standing up, he's gonna sag. That's one little tiny piece of plastic, unless there's a rod in there, a metal rod, and there's no way for me to test that without risking breaking it. But he will eventually end up sagging, which does kind of suck, so it would have been cool to see a little clear piece to hold that up. Again, unless they accounted for it and are extra awesome and included a metal piece inside there to hold him nice and sturdy. But it is a really nice figure. They did a good job. Otherwise, it's what we've come to know from them. It's the same thing we've seen a bunch of times. So we're not going to really talk about the Foot Soldier anymore, because you will know about it by now. And if you don't, there's about 1,000 reviews of various releases of Foot Soldiers. So you should be covered with this. They did a really good job with this. Hopefully it doesn't sag, and that's going to be really it. That's going to be all we talk about for the Foot Soldier. The real star of the show is, of course, Casey Jones, who is probably the best character in all of Ninja Turtles anyway. That's not really true, but maybe it is. Aesthetically speaking, he has the right styling. They did a good job with the black line work. I will say there's a few spots on him where the black line work is kind of shiny, and it does throw off the look a little bit, because the whole figure is a nice matte to satin finish, and it looks great. Maybe you can see that. It's glossy. The black line work is glossy up around the collar especially, so that's not a huge deal, but it is something people may notice. And so I included that in the review. Very, very nice aesthetic. The sculpt is clean. I really have no complaints. I think it looks really, really, really good. So aesthetically speaking, this 2-pack gets a 9 out of 10. Casey looks really good, and the Foot new addition, or should I say subtraction, looks really good too. All right, as far as the accessories go, we're just going to do it all in one go. We have an orange throwing star, a gray throwing star, a communicator with rock steady on it. I don't know if that's a specific reference or not. I don't remember that being a thing, but we do have that. And then let's go ahead and talk about Casey's weapons. We do have his little golf bag thing, a jigger. It's not really a golf bag. I don't know, whatever. We have his carrying case for his 2 different hockey sticks, some kind of other stick, a baseball stick, and then a hammer stick. Lots of blunt weapons, and they're all very nicely detailed. I don't know what that one spirally, it's not really a spiral, whatever that thing is, I don't know. As far as hands go, we have the 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, 1 pointing finger hand, and then 1 slightly awkward thumbs up hand. So that's a decent spread for him. And for the Foot, we have his 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, 2 high five hands, and then 2 relaxed hands. And we have the 2 different guns that he comes with. And I guess technically his thing was the communicator as well, but I already talked about that. So that's a plenty good spread of accessories. 10 out of 10. I can't think of anything else we would need. Unless you wanted to include as an accessory like a Raphael figure or something like that. So good spread there. As far as the articulation goes, we're only going to go over Casey because the Foot doesn't really need it. His head is on a ball peg. He's got a big girthy neck and he has girthy hair, so it's pretty limited in a lot of ways. Even the face mask is somewhat limiting. So it's mostly going to be look to the left, look to the right, a little bit of attitude. Looking up and down is not going to do much. I think that's probably fine. Again, NECA always skews toward the aesthetic rather than articulation, and that should be okay. For the shoulder pad, it is fairly soft. This is a separate piece for the strap. By the way, you probably saw me adjust that. The black paint on the torso has to line up with the strap though for it to look good. Just keep that in mind as you're posing him. You may need to readjust this. But the shoulder pad is going to limit this side for sure, but not too bad. Let's see. I can't really get it any higher. It feels like it's actually just the limitation of the sculpt, not the shoulder pad itself, so that's okay. Let's try this side. Let's see what we get. Oh, well, it's a little bit higher. It's not a ton. I thought it was going to go a lot more, but that's still almost horizontal, so I think that's okay. As far as rotation goes, you do get your rotation. Be careful though, don't grind his skin against his tattered purple sleeves. You're going to end up with purple marks probably, so be aware of that, but you will get your full rotation on that side. On this side, obviously not. Double jointed elbow, how's it work? Let's do it on this side, so it's on camera. Oh, it feels like it wants to break as I do it. Not like crack, but like tear. Well, you get plenty of good range. That's 90 right there, and I'm not using that top joint at all. The top one's kind of stuck. I'm a little worried about messing with that without heating it up and stuff. Let's try this side. Uh-oh, I can't get this top one to go on this side either. The bottom one works just fine. So you'll have a little bit better than 90. It looks like you're going to have to finagle it a little bit before you use it, or you're going to probably have some tearing. Be very careful with that. For the torso, we do have a diaphragm joint above the belly where his midriff is showing. Doesn't seem to be that much range, and it doesn't really do much. It kind of just goes back to middle. Maybe yours will work better than mine. It doesn't feel stuck because the twist works just fine. It's somewhat limited, but I mean, it's there, but I can't get the leaning to really do much. Then you do get a full-on waist twist right there. For the hips, the diaper comes down kind of far. So that's about 45, right, like that. You can go a little farther. It depends on how much you want to stretch this. It's fairly soft and it feels like it'll stretch, but I don't want to risk tearing it on my own personal one. So I'm going to say this is the limit that I feel comfortable with. You can go nuts on yours if you want to. As you rotate the legs forward, you see a lot of potential stretching. And there is a little bit of sculpting in there to make it kind of fold up a little bit, but you're still going to be stretching out his diaper. So I'm going to say that's the safe limit right there, and you're going to have to mess with your own if you want to try pushing it past that limit. Going back is not really going to work. You do get a thigh swivel. Oh, by the way, he does have the ball peg hips, so there's no issue with them being connected to each other, so that's fine. Double jointed knee is nicely hidden behind the torn pants. I really like that choice. They did a good job with that. Let's see if it functions. That one doesn't want to move. NECA and their stuck joints out of the package. I really wish they would work on that. I can't get them to go, and I can't obviously heat and cool this during the review, and it wouldn't be fair for me to not show you how it comes out of the package. So you're gonna have to mess with that. Hopefully you don't have loose joints. If you do, or tight joints, I mean, if you do, you're gonna have to try heating them and then letting them cool and then try posing them. Just be careful you don't tear anything. And then for the ankles, you have a hinge that goes all the way back and not very far forward, and a decent enough ankle rocker. So definitely limited in the articulation department, especially considering the fact that we have a bunch of stuck joints. At this point, that's just the way it is with NECA. Half their figures are just like that, and that blows. But most of the time, with a little bit of a hairdryer action on there or some warm water, you can usually get them freed up, and then you're left with a perfectly fine figure. So I don't hold them to account too much for that, but I will say for sure it blows, and I would much rather not have to deal with that. Shouldn't have to, but since we can, it's not that big of a deal. That's where I'm coming from. So articulation on this guy is only going to get a 6. It's not great as it is, and even once it's freed up, it's still not great. So final verdict for this 2-pack. Is it a really good 2-pack? I would say it's a good enough 2-pack. Casey Jones is a figure everybody wanted. It doesn't let me down. It's in line with what NECA does. It's really aesthetically pleasing, somewhat limited in the articulation and potential QC issues with stuck joints. But that's what this line has been from the beginning. Would I prefer all of the issues to go away? Absolutely. But it still does look awesome, and that's the primary thing that they're going for. I can't fault them for choosing to focus on the aesthetic over the articulation. But we do have those issues regardless. So I'm going to give this 2-pack a final verdict of only 7 out of 10. They look great. lots of accessories, but QC and stuck joints and limited range is still a factor, and these are action figures, so I have to include that. So let me know what you guys think about all of that in the comment section below, and otherwise, just give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you didn't, that's okay too. You can give it a thumbs up anyway, and if you haven't subscribed, you should, because I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.